Okay, so today we're going to look at the MVP thinking. MVP means minimum viable product. So what I will do, I will quickly show all the slides in my presentation. Okay, so that's the content which we have. So I would like to ask you once again about the last question which you will ask yourself at the end of this session. Okay, the last question which you will answer to yourself, which you'll ask yourself at the end of this session. Okay, so please share your responses. Would anybody like to answer?
Sir, I think my question to myself will be, is my model sustainable? So I would assume that, let's say I don't get any funding or
Understand. Okay.
not too much cash revenue. So will I be able to bootstrap itself? Means
Okay.
it should be more profitable and
Okay.
then the sales revenue generated high.
Okay.
So I would like to ask myself what price I can sell the product for.
Okay. Next.
So I think that it is more important, from what it looks like, it's more important to start rather than wait for the right opportunity or the product. So in that case, I would rather start with a product that is already established in the market, rather than try something new and then eventually build on the flow of the customer feedback and the revenue generate.
Okay. Anybody else?
Sir, at the end of the session, I would like to ask myself, okay, whether I would. Hello, sir, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
So, whether I will be able to convince the team, my group, my team here will be able to reach the expectations of your team.
Okay. Okay, ma'am. Next.
My question would be, again, one thing would be related to the pricing. How should I go about the pricing? And the second, I would ask myself, what should I prioritize when strategizing about the growth or the health of my business? Should I keep profit above the scaling, or should I keep that?
Okay.
So if I were to ask from the MVP point of view, I would ask whether the MVP that I have created, is it fulfilling the basic need of my customer?
Okay.
And perhaps to build on top of that, whether an MVP should not be a moving target. So how much of the minimum that you have calculated is minimum, or does it require more features or feature set or something like that?
Okay. Okay. Noted. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, and I would like to ask myself, how is it that I can scale up my existing business? In which direction can I pivot to scale in a better way? So that is the question that I would like to ask myself.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else would like to go, or should I proceed?
Yeah, is even my venture fall under this MVP is relevant to my venture or not?
Okay. Okay. You don't know whether your venture is under MVP stage or not. Is it? Is it the question?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Harsha, I'd like to know if a MVP in the context of social entrepreneurship and social innovation, how different would that be when there is like multi-stakeholder stuff? So how do you really, what elements will drive that, wherein we can say, yeah, I have reached the MVP. With respect to products and services, it's a little clear. There are some things that I'm trying to solve for a customer, pain points. I can just go by top 3 checklists. But in case of social entrepreneurship, again, the multi-stakeholder system, I'm having that trouble with my vision of building an ecosystem. Yeah.
Sir,
I think that point would be very difficult to cover here, because either it's a social entrepreneur or multi-stakeholder, it will have a product or a service, right? So the product or the service element will be covered here.
Sir, our venture is still in the ideation stage, but then how can we identify whether we are an MVP? Like, how would we know that we have reached there?
Okay. Okay. Noted. Noted, ma'am.
Okay. Oh, thank you.
Okay. So yeah, let's proceed. Can you see my screen completely, right? No problem.
Yes.
Okay. So one of the first things which come to our mind is that, is there a science for entrepreneurship? Is entrepreneurship something which is inbuilt? Is it a part of our genes, or can it be learned? So this was a question which was, tried to be understood by various faculty members, especially Professor Saras Saraswati of US-based MBA college. So she analyzed and studied various entrepreneurs across various scales of their companies. Somebody at 2 million, somebody at 5 billion valuation, etc., and so on. And she found out she made some critical observations on answering this question, whether this entrepreneurship can be taught or learned. Okay. So she figured out that, there are two kinds of approaches when it comes to reaching our goals. Okay. So one is the managerial thinking. The second one is the entrepreneurial thinking. What is the managerial thinking? Typically, if you see a big company, let's say Apple or Google or anything, they're already established. They know what their revenue is. They know what profits are they making, and they want to know how much they know, and they will target how much growth they want to get. Okay, let's say 5% or 10% or 15%, etc., etc. So they have a goal in mind. Let's say increase the profitability, or increase the shareholder value, or increase the customer experience. Okay, and then they come back and understand what is it that I need to do to reach that goal. Okay, so the goal is fixed, and then they figure out what is the best way to reach there. Okay, entrepreneurial thinking is somewhat different. In entrepreneurial thinking, the end is not fixed. Okay, that's the main difference. So I will give you an example. For example, if I invite all of you to IIMV field campus, okay, and then as guests, and then I will ask you, hey, what is it that you people would like to eat? And then each of you will give some answer. Hey, I want water. I want biryani. I want dosa. I want North Indian food. Okay. And then I compile all of that and put that as my goal. My goal will be to satisfy all of you as per your demands. Okay, so now the goal of each stakeholder is fixed. Now the goal of each stakeholder is fixed, and then I will figure out, okay, for making dosa, what is required, for making a biryani, what is required, and I will try to, leverage my time, resources, money, and energy in such a way that I am able to reach and meet all of your goals. Okay, so that is typical managerial thinking. Now, in entrepreneurial thinking, it is slightly different. Again, I will call all of you to IIMV field campus, and this again I will ask you, what is it that you all would like to eat? Now, for a change from the managerial thinking, in which you people have given specific tasks to me, and now you're going to tell me, hey, I have come to your home, so it is up to you on what you want to offer to us. Okay, so we will not give you a specific task of making this. You tell me what all options I have. Okay, and then what will I do? In the first case of managerial thinking, because I had a specified goal, I know what it takes to reach that goal. Okay, so my thought process is very clear. In the second case, I was not given any goal. Okay, so instead, what I will do, I will go to my kitchen or pantry in IIMV field building, and then I will see what all items are there. Is water there? Is Coca-Cola there? Is coffee there? Okay, is Maggi there? Is idli there? Okay, so I will compile all the options which I have readily available at my pantry, or I can order in Swiggy and get those to you. So I will make a list of all the things which I could make, and then come back to all of you and tell you that, hey, I have these 5, 6 varieties. You tell me now, which one would you like to have? Okay, so in effectual thinking, the goal was not fixed. However, the means, the approach, the means which we used to reach the goal was in our hand. Okay, so effectuation actually means it's a way of thinking and decision making and solving problems that is focused on creating opportunities by using the resources available to you. Okay, in the cooking example which I said, with how are you creating opportunities? You are creating opportunities basis all the resources that are available to you in your pantry or via Swiggy, or you can have a delivery boy, etc., etc. And then you are making things happen. Okay, is this clear? Is this example clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, very much. Thank you.
Okay, so this is what effectuation is, and this is a typical graph which is okay, in the causal thinking, the given goal is there, my increased profitability, increase shareholder value, etc., etc. And then I need to figure out how many people need to be there to achieve the target, which department should work on what, marketing, operations, finance. So what all these guys have to do in parallel, in sync, so that the goal of hitting the profitability by X% is achieved. In the second case, in effectual thinking, we don't have the end in mind. We will see what all are available to us, what resources we have, and what can we do with those resources to achieve the multiple goals. Okay, so multiple goals are there. I'll tell you how multiple goals are coming in a short while. Okay, so fundamentally the causal thinking people will assume that, if I can predict the future, I can control it. That means if I can predict that my industry is going to grow by 10%, my social, economical, government, technological parameters will behave in this particular future, in this particular way, and then I come back from that particular reference of future, and I try to play around in such a way that I will reach my goal. Okay, in effectual thinking, effectively you are controlling the future, because you are deciding, you are giving options to, and in the cooking example, you are deciding I am deciding the options of what the guests should eat, right? So I am in a way controlling the future. So when I am controlling the future, I don't have to predict it. Okay, so I don't have to understand and study market research reports, etc., to work on effectual thinking. So in effectual thinking, there are 5 principles. Okay, so the first one is the bird in hand principle. In the cooking example, start with your means. So what do I have? Okay, so what do I have? Who am I? What do I know? What are my interests? What are my competencies? Okay, whom do I know? Okay, do I know Satya Nadella, or do I know President of India, etc., etc., etc.? That may not help me. But who do I know who can give me access to markets? If I know Satya Nadella, if I know Prime Minister, if I know Chief Minister, etc., etc., then it opens up activities. So I don't have to have the skills with me. I can form a partnership with somebody else, and I will get access to the markets. Okay, so it's about not waiting for the perfect opportunity. When do you wait for the perfect opportunity? Typically when you have a preset goals, okay, that you need to do X, okay, and you need to achieve X, and then you will wait for the right opportunities to proceed further. For example, if the electric vehicle market is increasing in the next 5 years, and I know that, and if I am Maruti Suzuki and if I am Tata Motors, Maruti Suzuki clearly said that, let the market build. We don't want to invest in R&D without the market getting built, because if we invest and if the market doesn't grow, it's a lot of risk for us. Because we have invested, because our expenses are more, then my profitability will hit. Okay, whereas Tata Motors said, okay, the market is not yet built, but we will build the market. We will already start making cars. Whether that's getting sold or not, it's not our headache. Let me do it. Okay, let me start action for improving the electric vehicle accessibility to people. Okay, so one person said is waiting for the perfect opportunity. Okay, let the market build, I will come and take it. The other person, Tata Motors, is saying, I am already a car manufacturer. Okay, I know how to build cars. I can learn from others how to build an electric vehicle engine. So essentially, I know somebody who can make electric engines. Okay, and either I can collaborate with them, or I can buy out that startup, or I can invest or hire more people who know electric vehicles, engines, manufacturing, etc., from abroad, and build into my team. Okay, so they started taking action. Now they are the market leader. Now Maruti Suzuki, on the other hand, though they are market leader for all 4-wheelers in India, they are lagging when it comes to they're lagging when it comes to electric vehicle sales. So this bird in hand principle effectively means, what can I do with what I have? Okay, and not waiting for the perfect opportunity, start taking action. So this is relevant for mainly for entrepreneurs. As entrepreneurs, we think that somebody from an IIM has access to their networks and alumni and investor groups, so they will easily get funding. Whereas in my venture, because though my product might be good, though my intentions, my brand is developing, my traction in the venture is good, I am not getting investment. So instead of saying that I am not getting investment, so let me not work on it, etc., you start building and taking action on how you can proceed further, instead of just thinking and stopping ourselves, saying that we don't have the relevant skill sets or the networks. Okay, so that is bird in hand principle. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, the second one is affordable loss principle. So typically it is entrepreneurship, in my opinion, is all about handling uncertainty, preparing for uncertainty. Okay, so when you're having uncertainty, then what do you try to do? For example, if you have 10 lakh rupees with, okay, so now you don't have immediate expenses. So what do? You go to a bank, put it in an FD, or invest in stock markets, or invest in or invest in gold or invest in mutual funds, etc., and think that that money should grow. So you are only looking at how much percentage of money I will make depending on the risk I take. If I'm investing in stock markets, it is highly risk, so I am expecting more than 15% return. If I'm investing in low risk product like fixed deposit, I will get 4%. Okay, so you are playing around that. You are playing around what is my expected return. But in entrepreneurship, because there is a lot of uncertainty, we cannot have a expected return in mind. Hey, my startup, if I start a venture by now, in 1 year, my revenue will be X, my profit will be Y. So we cannot think like that. However, just because we are not making profitability, or just because we won't get traction, or just because we don't have the product, it doesn't mean that we should not act on the opportunity. So what do? Probably, if I were the entrepreneur, I will leave the job which I am currently working and then become an entrepreneur and set a target for myself. Okay, maybe I will not make money in the next 2 years in my venture, but I can definitely have an estimation of how much I can lose in the business. I will put a metric saying that, hey, if I lose 2 lakh rupees, I will stop this. If I lose 10 lakh rupees, stop this. If I don't reach 1,000 people, I will stop this. Okay, so why this affordable loss helps? Because it helps you to take calculated risks. Calculated risks always are better when it comes to mitigating the environmental changes. Like, for example, the Kodak, they might not have taken calculated risk. Okay, they were sitting in a happy zone, which they were very comfortable at. If they would have taken some risk, okay, and assumed that, some downside, okay, I will lose my existing customers, no problem, let me try. So because they did not have this approach, they probably failed, and this could have been one of the many reasons why they could have failed. Okay, this is affordable loss. Is it clear? Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, the third one is the principle of lemonades. Okay, so what is the lemonade principle? Generally, if we start working on something, it is possible that things will work in our favor or things will not work in our favor. Those things which work in our favor, even without our involvement, they come as a surprise to us. They come as a positive blessing for our venture, for us, etc. Or those which were not in our hand and were acting against us, those are shocks, right? So there will be surprises also, there will be shocks also. Now, in causal thinking, because the goal is fixed, because you are trying to figure out the right path, most likely they are able to identify the gaps, and they are able to avoid surprises and shocks altogether. Okay, because entrepreneurship has more uncertainty, we should be prepared to face shock. Okay, so when we make that uncertain or unpredictable situation into our favor, that gives us an advantage. Okay, so that to leverage that advantage, at least we should have in our mind that yes, there will be turbulence. There will be turbulence where I will not be able to perform to the best of my abilities, or my venture will face difficulties. Okay, instead of making a backup plan of what will happen, if we embrace that, okay, and then say, hey, I don't know what is going to hit me, but I'm going to stay strong and navigate this uncertainty. Okay, so that is something which entrepreneurs do well. Okay, so this is lemonade principle. Is it clear?
Harsha, making a backup plan is one way of handling the surprises, right?
Yeah, it is one way of handling the surprises, and that is one way of avoiding surprises also.
Yeah.
Yes, right.
You're prepared.
So
the preparedness.
typically, I'm not saying that we can't prepare. If you ask me, the only way to handle uncertainties is to be prepared, and prepared to not prepared for not for the solution, but to handle the problem. Okay, so what am I trying to say? I am trying to say that if For example, let's say somebody is going to get married, okay, and there is a high chance that you don't know whether the marriage will become successful or whether the marriage will fail. Correct, right? So how do you handle that uncertain situation? Okay, so now we cannot have a backup plan. Okay, if the marriage will fail, I will give divorce and I will marry somebody else. So that is preparing for the solution. Okay, what about the emotional state? Okay, when you have when somebody has a divorce, they will also go through emotional turbulence and etc. Okay, now instead of planning for that particular event and saying that no, today onwards I'm going to go to my doctor and I'm going to be focused on my mental health, because I don't know, there is a 50% chance that this marriage will fail. Okay, instead of planning like that, instead of having a backup plan, all that, instead, if we try to see, okay, I don't know whether the marriage will be successful or not, but I am confident and I have mental strength that I'm going to I can handle that situation. Okay, I can handle that situation is what this principle is talking about, rather than having a solution for that uncertain situation.
Okay. So you're talking about building resilience in yourself, right? I get it right. Okay. Instead of having the backup plans.
Yeah, because we can't have a backup plan for everything. Your venture or my venture or anybody's venture can fail at any possible situation. Okay, for example, when Apple was about, when Steve Jobs got fired and some new CEO came, and then they went to the extent where they were going to announce bankruptcy. Okay, so nobody would have, at the start of the company, nobody would have thought that there will be one situation where there will be bankruptcy. There is a percentage. Now let me prepare how to avoid that bankruptcy is what the managerial approach will take. What an entrepreneur will do, okay, I am reaching a stage of bankruptcy. Now Steve Jobs has come. When Steve Jobs has come, he went and shook hands with Microsoft, who was its biggest competitor. Okay, so that you cannot also plan that well in advance, 10 years in advance, saying that, hey, there will be a situation where I will announce bankruptcy. Now, and that situation, I will go and shake hands with my competitor. You can't have that plan, right? Otherwise, the whole journey will be gone, right?
Yeah.
So from that uncertain situation, what could he did? He remained flexible, and he remained flexible in it's such a high level that he went and shook hands with his biggest competitor. Okay, but the existing goal is to compete with Microsoft. It is not never to partner with Microsoft. Okay, so that is embracing surprises or shocks. Okay, there is some joke which is there generally, when life offers you lemons, make a lemonade. Okay, that's some joke. Okay, what happens when you drink lemonade? You will get some energy. So though a lemon is bad, a lemon juice is offering you some support. Is how this name got put. Okay, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the next one is crazy quilt principle. What is a quilt? It is basically putting, taking various different cloths and making one big. Okay, I forgot the name. Making a big.
I can explain quilt because I use quilting.
Okay.
With whatever scraps you have, something which is of negative value, you are making use of it and making it into a positive usage.
Yeah.
So out of scraps, we are making one quilt to bed sheet or something.
Yeah, bed sheet. So basically, with all the sarees which you have at home or the jeans pant, etc., you form a partnership wherein you try to stitch all those things and make a nice bed sheet. Okay, so the same example is applicable here also, the Apple example. Okay, so Apple went and formed a partnership with their competitor, which was in an which is something which is not so obvious. Okay, so I will give you one more example on this crazy quilt. Okay, so now when I come to IIM Visakhapatnam's case study, I will tell you Though IIM Visakhapatnam is like a competitor to IIM Bangalore, IIM Bangalore came and mentored and gave all their set processes and gave access to all their networks to IIM Visakhapatnam. Okay, so I will come back to that when we discuss the IIM Visakhapatnam case study. Okay, another way of doing this partnership is that, so recently the European Union said that, you know, all the mobile phones should only have Type C charging port. Okay, now Apple was having their own lightning bolt charger. Now they had to change that to Type C. Okay, now taking that example, let's say what will happen in 10 years down the line when all of us are using electric two-wheelers and electric four-wheelers. If the charging socket of each of our cars or the plug point at home is different, then what will happen? Then it is an unnecessary headache for all of us, right? So what can happen is, if all the competitors can come together and say, hey, I want to set this standard, okay, and reduce the risk for the customers, will that help? They are our competitors. They might be having developing an R&D technology where their charging socket or their charging wire has much more speed charging or efficient charging or whatever. Extra benefit might come from their own R&D, but by having a collaboration, they're able to reduce the risk. Okay, yes, ma'am. Somebody is asking question.
Yes, sir. Sneha here. With regard to forming partnerships, can we form partnerships with our power buddies or those who will actually, with whom we can, facilitate some kind of some revenue generation, or instead of this crazy quilt? I mean, the example that you took, it seems to be a little deviant from what you have explained. So I'm asking if we could go in that direction, wherein we can have some convenient or such kind of partnerships or alliances, collaborations, and go ahead. Will that also fit into?
Yeah. So I mean, probably we should not take that word crazy as literally. It's
Okay.
basically means forming partnerships only.
Okay.
Okay, so they made a crazy quilt because something which is not thought of. I mean, they wanted to give an indication that, you know, it can be a very difficult collaboration to be achieved. Okay, so there are some collaborations which we'll think that, you know, this is definitely not possible. Okay, for example, recently there was yesterday a news that saying that, you know, Google has developed an AI technology called Gemini AI. Now Apple is in talks with Google to put their Gemini AI into the home screen of iPhone. This is something which is crazy, right? Nobody will think that, you know, we'll go to the biggest competitor and form a partnership and we'll put their technology in your phone.
Okay.
So they're jointly creating the future, the technology of AI, etc., etc. So why they are doing it, I don't know. But this definitely sounds crazy, right? So probably that's why they put some names like this.
Sure. Okay.
Okay. So the last one is, pilot in the plane. So when you are a pilot in the plane, what you will try to do? You will try to navigate all the uncertainties and reach your destination. Okay. If by some chance and you are not able to reach to your destination airport, what will you do? You will try to navigate and take it to some other place, but land it safe. Okay. So instead of making predictions and following trends, effectuation encourages us to be, you know, controlling the things which we can control. For example, the example which I gave earlier, like an IIM graduate with the same business idea of yours, just because he has networks, he will get better funding. Whereas me, or basically I'm also IIM graduate. So if you are having same business model, you may start thinking that, you know, I don't have access to networks, I lack this, or that guy is having additional advantage over me. So what can I do? Instead of thinking that, you know, I can't do and I will stop doing. Instead, if we move ahead, understand what is in our control. Okay, I also have customers. He also has his own customers. My product is this, his product is that. So let me focus on my customers. Let me try to increase my scope of customers. Let me try to work on my product. Okay, and then try to build my venture. Okay, maybe we will not grow as fast as that IIM guy's venture is, or maybe he will fail because of excess pressure or excess money. Okay, maybe he will succeed. It is not always a certain result that when somebody is getting funding from a bigger funding VC, that they will succeed. It's not the possible. It's not the case, right? So many big VCs who are funding big startups, they're all failing. So instead of thinking about what is not in our control, if we control what is in our control, we can navigate better. Okay, is that clear? So this is fundamentally the core of effectual thinking. Okay, the resources which you have in place, and what can you make things happen. Okay, what can I do? How will I know what can I do? Depends on who am I, what my background is, what my interests are, what my skills are, what my competencies are, what is the change I would like to bring in the society, or what is the impact which I would like to make in my community, etc., etc. Okay, what do I know? So this is typically the well which Professor Shamim was talking about. What is my strength? Can I play in that strength or not? Oh, okay. There will be always many things which we don't know. But if I know somebody who knows something, it is better than not knowing anything or not knowing anybody. If I know somebody who can do something, that can be leveraged. Okay, and by leveraging, what do? We prepare for surprises and uncertainty. By not waiting for the perfect opportunity, starting with what you have, who am I, what do I know, whom do I know, forming partnership, setting an affordable loss. This is the amount of loss which I can take in my venture. Beyond that, I cannot take it. Okay, or there could be some other answer. And controlling what we can. Okay, so if I can predict the future, if I can control the future, I don't have to predict. Is that clear so far? Anybody has any questions? Okay. So let's talk about the dilemma. Okay, this MVP part. Okay, so what is the dilemma? Okay, so first thing is, we have all worked out on the lean canvas, right? On the left side of the lean canvas, there is product, there is problem, there is solution, there is key metrics. Okay, so what are we essentially trying to do when we are talking about the solution in the lean canvas? Can it be done? Is there an existing technology which can be used to make my solution work? Okay, the second part is on the right side of the lean canvas, we have customer segments, we have unfair advantage, we have channels. Okay, essentially we are looking at desirability. Does anybody want it? Yes, I have a solution. Okay, I have a problem statement. Can I make a solution with the available technologies, etc., etc.? That is feasibility. And on the other hand, yes, I have a solution. I can make it, but is somebody desiring it? Will somebody want it or use it? And at the end, what will happen if there is a product and if there is a customer? There will be business viability. Can it make money? Is my revenue more than my cost? Okay, so those are the three angles of the lean canvas. Put it in a different way. Now, what is the dilemma, and now why is the MVP concept relevant in our discussion? Okay, so now let's think of an idea. Let us say I want to build an educational institute like IIM. Okay, so is it possible? So what does an IIM typically have? IIM has infrastructure, IIM has faculty. Okay, IIMs have students, library, not students, IIMs have access to networks, etc., etc. So if I want to set up an IIM, I probably need to get basically a government only can set up an IIM. So I cannot make it. So that is not feasible, right? But somebody can do it. Let's say government can do it. Now, will students come if I establish a new IIM? Currently in India, there are about some 20, 21 IIMs. Now, in the next year, if government says, I want to start 80 new IIMs in India. Okay, yes, it is definitely feasible to put an IIM, get faculty, etc., etc. But will somebody want to join that IIM or not? Okay, will there be enough demand or not? Okay, what is the quality of output which is coming from that IIM college, which will live up to the prestige of IIM or not? Okay, if that doesn't happen, if there are lesser customers for our services, then it definitely is not viable physically, financially. Got it, right? However, let us say government of India says, next year I want to build 80 new IIMs. Yes, I expect that, the quality of people who are coming from, who are doing undergraduates is likely going to improve because of AI technologies, etc., etc. So now more people want to do post graduation. So there is a lot of demand. I can see, I think that there will be a lot of demand. Okay, and then they say, okay, it is also feasible because it's a tried and tested model, and customers will come. Okay, I am also assuming that it will make money. However, now the question is, 80 new IIMs need to be built in India. That means a lot of capital is required, a lot of human resources are required, a lot of time is required to build that intervention, a lot of activity, energy in terms of like effort is required. Okay, so now if 80 new IIMs are coming, will all the 80 start from the best quality of service or not? So my question is, if 80 new IIMs are to be built, will all of them start with the best quality to all the students who are coming into the campus? Okay, so think critically, what does the best quality mean? What is quality in the mind of a student? What all does he expect? Can we offer that or not? So think from the shoes of government and try to give an answer to this. Okay, is my question clear? So if you are the government of India and if you want to set up 80 new IIMs across India, there is some expectation from the customer that IIM brand means this A, B, C, D are the quality things which I expect from an IIM. Now, because you're setting up 80 new IIMs, you will have a lot of time. You're running out of time. When the next you have money constraints, and then have resource constraints, you have energy constraints, the activities which need to be done so quickly. Now, the question is, can I offer the best quality? Can the government offer best quality of their IIM service in the very first year?
Yeah, they can try to do that by leveraging the existing institute resources.
Which institute?
First year they cannot do. I guess first year they cannot do. Eventually they can improve.
So if the management, the top management is the same, and the core team is there, so they can lend their resources to the other ventures. The resources can be shared.
Okay, some resources can be shared, but to the customer, from the customer's point of view, the students who are going to come into these new IIMs, how likely, what are their expectations in terms of quality from an IIM? Will that quality be reached in the very first year or not?
As customers, they'll be very apprehensive. Yeah, I missed that part. Yeah. So there will be apprehension, definitely.
Customers may need, sir. First year itself, I guess a new IIM cannot provide all the facilities what the customer needs the very first year. According to the eventually they can improve according to the needs of the students.
Okay. Okay. Now I will add two perspectives. One is that government doesn't have the enough funds to run 80 new IIMs. They have only 10% of what is required.
Sir, I don't think so. It is possible. So.
Okay. So no. Okay. So now they only have 10% of the resources, but they're ambitious. They want to build 80 new IIMs so that upcoming students will get benefited with all the IIM leverage technologies. The second,
government has.
In the second situation, government has 100% of the funds. Government has enough resources who can join as directors, teams, faculty, everything. Okay, they have enough resources. Their ready-made buildings are there to to make movements and ask people to come. So everything is there. Okay, two worst cases. One is that they have only 10% of the resources. Second, they have 100% of the time, money, expertise, energy, etc. Everything they have. Okay, so now there is something which is at a higher level and something that is at a lower level, right? Now this is where the things are. Okay. Now there will be some with only 10% of the resources. Maybe he will not even have an institute director to take charge of the activities. Maybe you need to put somebody in part-time role. Maybe faculty will not come to teach for that low salaries. Okay, if we force somebody to come and teach, maybe those people will offer so poor quality that no student would like to come in the second year. Okay, so the same case with entrepreneurship also. If there is some element of vision which all of us have about what our product should be. Okay, if we strip it down, if we reduce all the features and say this is the barest minimum. Okay, I am having some land. In the case of IIM example, I am having some land. I will get them some 10 faculty who are coming at very, very nominal fees, who cannot live up to the existing IIM standards. Okay, but I am offering them IIM degree. Okay, so then what will happen? The whole ecosystem will suffer, right? Because you are not able to meet the quality standards which the existing IIMs have set. Okay, so it is not enough to do the barest minimum and go to the market. That is not what minimum viable product means. Minimum doesn't mean strip off everything, just have an IIM degree at the end and you do whatever you want in the 2 years. No infrastructure, poor quality of faculty, no case studies, okay, very bad quality of intake students, just because the goal is to give an IIM degree at the end of 2 years. Right? So we cannot do the barest minimum thing and go to the market. On the other hand, if I have all the resources at hand, typically not the government, but the corporates have these established big large cap companies have enough resources at their hand. They have enough money, they have enough resources, they have enough people, they can put efforts very quickly. Okay, so with their time, money, expertise, and energy, they can offer best in class quality service or product. Okay, but IIM government cannot go to corporates and say, hey, you give us all the money. We have a good vision of building 80 IIMs. We only have 10%, you pay 90%. Okay, that is not possible. And government cannot start with 10%. Now, we have a question. Okay, as an entrepreneur or as a government, how much is enough? How much of quality is enough? Okay, so that is the question which we all as startups need to ask. How much can we do and how much should we do? Ultimately, we want to provide high quality experience in the upcoming years. Maybe in 5 years, maybe in 10 years, I will reach to the existing standards of the existing IIMs in terms of campus, in terms of faculty, in terms of activities and engagements which are happening in an IIM. I will meet all of that. But at the same time, I cannot strip off everything and say that just because I want to give an IIM degree, I will, I will just hire whatever faculty I want, whatever campus I want, etc., etc. So how much is enough among this lower level and upper level is what MVP is all about. Okay, so I'm not still defined what an MVP is, but minimum viable product definitely doesn't mean stripping off everything, having the barest minimum thing like an IIM degree at the end of 2 years and offering that product to the market. That doesn't mean that. So is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So then what is, and how do we start to understand how much is needed? Okay, how much is needed is the burning question, and it is specific to each of our ventures. Okay, there is no direct answer. Now, what do we have to do? We have, as I said in the beginning, entrepreneurship can be learned. And how do we learn it? By using some specific frameworks. And these are not rocket science frameworks. This is a very basic scientific approach. What is the basic scientific approach? How is science built or understood in this universe? First, somebody will make an observation. Let's say Newton only, right? That Newton saw some apple came and fell into his lap. That is an observation. Okay, and then he started to collect data. Okay, like an apple, how many things are coming back? Okay, he threw, let's say, a chair on top, a chair into the air, and then it fell down. Whatever he is throwing, it is all coming down. Now he's collecting patterns. Okay, if the object is staying idle, that means it will stay idle. Or if I throw it up, it is always coming down. Okay, if somebody is catching an item at the top, and if that person leaves it, it is coming down. So collecting data and looking for patterns. And then you state what is called as a hypothesis. Hypothesis means this thing. Okay, if an object is thrown into the air at 10 meters per second speed, it will come down. Okay, that is the hypothesis. Now you need to test the hypothesis. Okay, whether that situation is happening every time or not. Okay, in which cases is it working? In which cases is it not working? And then they will formulate a theory. Hey, if you are on Earth, because of gravitational force, if you throw at X speed, it will always come back. Okay, that hypothesis is true. However, the hypothesis is not true when you throw an object at escape velocity of Earth, where that object will directly go out of Earth's atmosphere and will not come back. Okay, what is the situation in which this hypothesis is working? In which cases is it not working? Is this the entire documentation of everything is the theory, right? If you do this, this will work. If you don't do this, it will not work. And finally, what do we gain? We gain a better understanding of the universe. Okay, so the same scientific approach, we can apply it in our ventures also. Okay, so there's no difference. First, we need to make observations. What observations are we going to make? Whether the product is, how am I making the product? Is it making sense to me financially, or is there a customer who is having desire about it? Can I use the existing technologies to make it? All these are observations, and you need to start collecting data. This collecting data is what will answer to many of your questions at the beginning you asked, right? So how do I know whether I'm in at MVP stage or not? How do I know what is the bare minimum features which need to be there in my product? How do I work on my pricing? How do I work on my sustainability, etc., etc.? All that will answer once we have a data and patterns to observe from. And then from the data, we will make some assumption. Okay, this is working because of this. Then we will test that assumptions. If it is working in all situations, and in which situation it is working, in which situations it is not working, is the theory. And this theory is again very specific to each of your businesses. And then we will gain a better understanding of our customer, of our product, of our business, and totally we will have a much better clarity of what we are trying to do in the venture. Okay, and then there is one more simple framework called PDCA cycle. This is also very, very basic to understand what it means. You first plan to do what you want to do, that is making observations. Which data do you want? Okay, what patterns do you want to look at? And then do it. Okay, And then do it in the sense you take the product to market, or you want to talk to customers, or you go to a bank and get the required funds to make your plan work. Okay, and then you execute. You execute is what do means. Then the third one is checking. Checking means observing again. Okay, what is working, what is not working, what have I learned, what have I not learned. Okay, what is under my control, what is not under my control, what can be predicted, what cannot be predicted, what is a surprise, what is a shock in this. And then you act on those observations and then improvise your plan, and this cycle continues. Okay, for an e-commerce company, how can this cycle be customized? They can say, I will build it, then I will test it, and then I will ship it, and then I will learn from it. Okay, just changing the nomenclature of these four things. So essentially, there are two simple approaches. Are these clear?
Yes, sir.
Now we'll come to various perspectives about what an MVP should be. So definitely an MVP is not that product where you are stripping down all the features and giving the barest of the barest minimum to the customer and offering him a reward. That is not what an MVP is. Okay, so when I say experts in this slide, experts are those people who have been entrepreneurs, who have set up companies, and they, in their interviews, which were documented in the form of a book, were sharing these perspectives of what an MVP should. An MVP should be able to test actual use case scenarios. Okay, that is the barest minimum. Okay, if you are having some product in mind, the actual use of that product, even if it is 10% or 20% or 30% quality, you should be able to test that particular situation. That is the thing. Okay, how should you test it? Because as we discussed, at the highest level of quality, those established people or the big players will have time, will have money, will have expertise, will have energy to do all of that. But we as entrepreneurs have minimal resources. So what an MVP should do? An MVP should use minimal resources. Why should you use minimal resources? Okay, what is the minimal here? Again, how much of this is minimal? Is depending on how much do you want to learn. Accelerate your learning. What are you accelerating? You are trying to understand about the customer. Is the customer liking this kind of product or service or not? Should I go and build an extension of what I have built? Okay, am I knowing what the market wants, from the technology perspective, from the product perspective, from the team building perspective? If you build an MVP, it should typically give answers to you, so that in the next version which you are trying to build, your learning is drastically improved, not just linearly improved, but drastically improved. Okay, the fourth one is, because we have limited resources, we have limited human capital, we have limited team members to do that. So an MVP should reduce our efforts of learning or doing into the product. Okay, and then an MVP should get the products to early customers very quickly. Okay, the early adopters which we discussed in the lean canvas, this MVP should try to reach that early adopter, at least, if not the biggest target segment which we are looking at. Okay, and finally, what it should do, it should eliminate business uncertainty. Okay, to the greatest extent possible. Okay, so now you will now get a question saying that, Harsha, you earlier said, you should embrace uncertainty. Okay, now you are trying to say eliminate uncertainty, which is again managerial thinking. No. Okay, so I will come and answer this question in the very next slide. So essentially what you are trying to do with an MVP is that you are just seeing whether I'm going in the right path or not, whether I can build, whether I should increase my resources, time, money, etc., in the existing one which I built and take the next version to the market, or should I scrap it and say that no, this is not working, let me try some other thing. Essentially, that decision of direction is what an MVP should give you. Okay, so we will again come back to this slide later. Okay,
Harsha, could you please explain accelerate your learning again?
And I'm doing the same.
How can an MVP accelerate your learning?
This is the slide about validating learning. Accelerate learning about what? Okay, so now we know there is a theory of constraint. Okay, this is another framework which is followed in operations. Okay, a chain is no stronger than its weakest link. The strength of the chain is its weakest link. Do you agree? Okay, now what is that weakest link is something which, as entrepreneurs, which we need to understand in our particular business model. In the lean canvas which we see, whatever is the weakest link which can break this entire business model, which we have to identify. That could be your solution, that could be your USP, that could be your cost, that could be your revenue. If revenue is not coming, that means that is the weakest thing. Okay, so we have 9 components now in lean canvas. Now we need to understand what is the weakest thing. Okay, typically what we do, typically we will go and ask our name, ask our friends, family, or our first 100 people as customers, and ask them, will you buy this, will you buy this, will you buy this? Okay, let's say it gives some insights. Sometimes we have to say them, hey, buy something. Okay, if their customers buy something, then definitely we are going to get much richer insights about our customer than simply knowing and asking them whether they will buy or not. Correct, right? So the weakest link needs to be identified in our business model, and then we need to put that as a core feature or some that when we are building that MVP, the answer to that weakest link should come out. So we need to include that feature, or we need to include that product or service offering in that MVP, so that we will know whether that link will break or whether that link will stay strong. Okay, that is what they mean by accelerate your learning. Because there are other stronger parts in your MVP. It doesn't matter whether because they are strong, even if you test it, because you have resource constraints, right? Because we have resource constraints, because we have time constraints, and because we have only limited efforts to put, we don't want to test the strongest one. We don't want to test the weakest one. By testing the weakest part, we can understand very quickly whether this business model, what is the gap in this business model, what should I need to do to strengthen this. Okay, so typically there are 4 risks in a venture. One is the product risk. Product risk, as we said, is about the feasibility. Can I make that product? Okay, what all technologies are required to make that product? What is the process involved? Do I know that? Okay, how should my team composition be, etc., etc. What features should be there? What features, if they are not there, customer will not accept, etc., etc. All are product risks. Second is the development risk. Now you have an idea of what product you want to make, but what is the cost for developing that product? Okay, maybe there is no ecosystem available. Maybe there is no support financially available from others. Okay, so those are the development risks which are involved in building a product. The third risk is the financial risk. Ultimately, if we don't have money to do anything, whether my cash flows are coming to my company on time or not, whether I'm making some business sense or not, because there is only limited finance risk which we can take from from as per our affordable loss principle. And the fourth one is execution risk. Now we know what to do, what product we want, we know how that product can be built. We have brought all the resources, people, finance, people, money, and we're trying to channelize all our efforts. Now, what are the execution risks in that? Okay, which city should I start in? Okay, which city, which state should I venture first? Okay, what activity should I do first? What if some person is leaving the team after 3 months because he doesn't like it? Okay, because we have time commitments, we even without that person also we have to go ahead. So all these are risks. So when we are trying to understand what are the learnings which we need from the MVP, it is these kind of answers. Okay, these are what is the weakest link which we need to identify, and then we need to understand these risks, make appropriate questions which will need to be incorporated in the MVP, and then we need to send that MVP out in the market, take the observations and see the answers to the questions which we have. Okay, this venture now has a lot of finance risk. Now I can't do it. This venture has a lot of product risk. Now, how do I do it? Or should I stop this path and work on a smaller level product which I want to make? Okay, and ultimately, whether your MVP is incorporating your unique value proposition or not is the most important thing. Then MVP should always include your unique value proposition. Okay, if there are 10 unique value proposition, at least the top 4 or top 5 which need to be there in your product, that needs to be there in MVP. We just can't say no, I've stripped down everything, because of all of this XYZ. It doesn't actually have my unique value proposition, but in the next version I will make my UVP. Then what will happen? The customers who have already interacted with our product, they will say, no, I didn't even like any aspect in your product which will make me wait for the second version of the product. It is essentially ensuring that the people who are using it first, the early adopters, have something to wait for in the second version. Okay, that is why the unique value proposition needs to be incorporated in the MVP. And whether that is giving you an advantage or not, it is something which we need to think. Okay, so now coming back to the slide, eliminating business uncertainty means it is not entirely removing all the risks and surprises and shocks. It is about identifying the weakest link in the business and trying to get answers so that with our validated learning, with our learning, we are able to reduce the uncertainty. Is it clear so far?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now let's come to the case study. Okay, IIM Visakhapatnam. Now the example which I told you earlier, that in 1 year IIM government wanted to set up 80 new IIMs. Let us rephrase that. Now in 2014 or 2015, government of India decided that they will set up 6 new IIMs or 7 new IIMs. Okay, and they had some funds, let's say 20% or 30% or 40% of what funds they were giving to an established IIM were available with them to give to the new IIMs. Now, how do we take that forward? Government has only 40% resources, like an entrepreneur also has limited resources. They had limited resources, and they need to execute this because there is growing demand for the MBA seats. Okay, so now my first question is, can we consider IIM Visakhapatnam as a startup or not? And how did they build their MVP? Something which we'll come across. Okay. Now, any answers? Can we consider IIM Visakhapatnam as a startup or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
No. Yes.
Okay, there is yes and no. So the answer is, on paper, it cannot be a startup because startup as defined by the government of India, DPIIT, it should be a limited liable partnership or a private limited company or a partnership firm. IIM Visakhapatnam is neither of these three. It is a non-profit society. Okay, so it is technically not a startup, but you know what? But in all other situations of if you remove that definition, it is a startup. Yes, a startup which has limited resources available with it, not like the earlier established IIMs which got whatever funding they had to get, they got it from the single source. Government is providing all of that. Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Calcutta, Lucknow, etc. No, but these new IIMs, they had only 40% or 50% of what they needed. Okay, so they had less resources and they were pursuing an opportunity. Okay, so we can consider that as a startup, and because it also has growth ambitions, it wants to grow rapidly. When IIM Visakhapatnam started, probably they had some 40 or 50 seats. Now in 2024, they are planning to give education to 400 students in one batch. So that is something that something is not very linear. It was morely exponential only. So in that growth ambition wise, and the operations wise, it can be considered as a startup. Okay, so now I will pause here and I will show you 3 different things. Okay, so one is the final product which they had in mind. Okay, at the end of all these years starting from 2015, they will take X amount of time to reach the final product which offers the best in class quality, as we discussed, as compared to IIM Ahmedabad. Probably they'll match IIM Ahmedabad in it's been what 9 years, and it's been what 9 years, and you will see what is the current version of the product or service, and then you will see what was their MVP. Okay, so let's go. First, we're going to watch the minimum viable product. Okay, so can you hear the music?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to show you one more video, which is like the MVP. Okay, so watch this carefully, and because we're going to have a lot of discussion on this particular video.
Visakhapatnam is the largest city both in terms of area and population, located in the coast of Bay of Bengal in the northeastern region of the state. Visakhapatnam is the administrative headquarters of Visakhapatnam district, and also it is the financial capital of Andhra Pradesh, the principal commercial hub of the state of Andhra Pradesh. Visakhapatnam contributes to its economy in many sectors such as heavy industries, tourism, industrial minerals, fishing and information technology. Visakhapatnam has been selected as one of the 100 Indian cities to be developed as a smart city under Prime Minister Narendra Modi's flagship Smart Cities mission. The establishment of the Indian Institute of Management Visakhapatnam, mentored by the Indian Institute of Management Bangalore in September 2015, is the newest milestone in the state's journey towards excellence and enrichment.
IIM Bangalore is delighted to be a partner of the central government and the state government of Andhra Pradesh in setting up the Indian Institute of Management Visakhapatnam. I think that this is going to fit very well with the state government's plans for making Visakhapatnam a vibrant city full of innovation and entrepreneurship.
My motivation behind joining a B school was to hone my entrepreneurial skills. Now that I have the access to the NSR cell of IIM Bangalore, I feel more confident with the guidance and the mentorship they have provided me.
The students who have joined the IIM Vizag are of top-notch quality. They have been carefully selected with very high standards. I met them personally and they're all extremely smart and extremely enthusiastic about coming to this new IIM.
IIM Visakhapatnam has given me a new perspective in life. Studying with some of the best minds in the country and having added responsibilities inspire me to be the best in what I do.
It's a totally different experience where learning happens not only through books but also through interaction with peers.
Anxious because it's the first batch. At the same time, excited for the IIM.
So they are getting all the experience not just in the classroom but also socially that you would get in any Indian Institute of Management.
I came in with a lot of hope and my stint thus far has been beautiful. Learning within and beyond the classroom has given me a confidence which makes me believe that this place is going to be a launchpad to fulfill my dreams.
The experience that I've had so far, I feel rest assured of the opportunities that I'll have at the end of this course.
26 assignments, 20 quizzes, and several presentations. But guess what? The list of celebrations that we had is even much more longer. These outings and festivities help us to know each other very well. This ensures the fun element in IIM Vizag.
A place of innovative leadership, an infinite pool of ideas.
Life here is all about stretching your limits and redefining yourself under the guidance of some of the best faculties.
It's been a remarkable journey so far under the guidance of some of the best minds in the country.
We are very pleased that the Andhra University has given us a building on their own campus that we have refurbished and made into world-class classrooms and library and meeting rooms for our students, so that the students in Visakhapatnam have the same feel that they would get in a campus at any other IIM.
The first batch of IIMV had a unique joint process for the summer placements. This was done with IIM Bangalore campus placement process, and we were able to place about 2/3 of the batch of IIMV in the first week of campus placements. Subsequently, the remaining students were placed at the IIMV campus. Recruiters were impressed with the quality of IIMV students. We may be able to get more students placed in the summer placement process for this year based on the quality of work which has been done by IIMV students.
IIM Vizag is among the youngest IIMs of the country. Now, as a young IIM, I see it having tremendous amount of advantages and opportunities. For example, since it is totally new, it can be very innovative and entrepreneurial. At the same time, it benefits from the experience of a world-class institution like IIM Bangalore, from the cumulative experience which IIM Bangalore has amassed over the last 40 years of its existence.
So now let's come here. So I'll now be open for I'll ask every one of you to make your comments on how many principles did they follow according to the theory which we discussed today. So would anybody like to go first? How many of these, how did they approach as an entrepreneurial company, as an entrepreneurial venture?
They even used the Andhra University campus. That was startling.
Okay.
So they did not wait for the perfect opportunity for the campus to be established to start with the first batch. I think the first one is checked there. Start with what they had, and they had the partnership and the guidance from IIM Bangalore. And yes, if it didn't have the perfect footing in the beginning, I think the credibility of the institution was something they set as an affordable loss there. And they had
I think these are the same ones, right?
also 5 things that we have discussed.
Okay, anybody else?
Yes, so I think they started with the build in hand principle, wherein they did not wait for the perfect opportunity, but rather started with whatever resources they could create for themselves, and also, they used a principle wherein they collaborated with other IIMs to guide them and mentor them.
Okay.
Yes, I would like to comment on that.
first of all, rightly pointed out that they have utilized the campus of Andhra B School. Then they have started with the mentorship of IIM Bangalore. So they have started on their own, and they have started whatever they had. Partnership, like the first batch, I am based on the results and also the what sort of jobs or like they have been going. So NSICEL they have collaborated with for that. So they have control what you can. So they have yes, they don't have the campus at that point of time. They have utilized it. Then since they have got the mentorship support from the IIM Bangalore, they have collaborated for the pass out students, and they have shown how Visakhapatnam position themselves, or how it is full of possibilities. So they work on that. So that's my point.
Okay. So
Yes,
now I'll ask you another question. Basically, more or less everybody is going to say the same thing. And let's say from these perspectives, from the MVP perspectives, how did you understand each of these statements by experts and whether they were incorporated or not? So what do you think?
Sir, MVP.
Anybody else can also
I
answer.
feel like, sir, MVP. I felt like this IIM is concentrating on entrepreneurship development. For that, they didn't do any compromise. They have done a correct infrastructure for it, and they are portraying it in a very well. Though it's a first batch, they have given everything what a student need to become an entrepreneur, and accordingly they set up the things there. So MVP is rightly made, I guess.
Okay, well, I mean, what is that MVP which they made right, and how would you explain these statements from your observations?
MVP is this IIM.
Anybody else can answer.
Sir, I think the MVP over here, which is quoted, use minimal resources and get their product to early customers quickly is what they had used, is what I feel, because they made use of whatever resources they had, and accordingly also they didn't wait for the opportunity, but they launched IIM Visakhapatnam.
Okay. Anybody else?
They started
here
even without
MVP.
owning a space, even the minimal resource, I would say, for it to start a university, you need your own space. They started even without that.
Okay.
And sir, I guess IIM Visakhapatnam is meant for the unique value proportion of IIM Visakhapatnam might be entrepreneurship development. To inculcate the spirit in students, the students who need entrepreneurship can choose IIM Visakhapatnam. That is the value. Entrepreneurship as a career opportunity, they can choose IIM Visakhapatnam. That's what they want to establish. That they did at the first batch itself. So that is their MVP.
Okay.
And
so
Sir,
also
from my
let
point
me-
of view.
Yeah, please go on.
Yeah, thank you. So from my point of view, I feel the MVP for them is the first batch which have passed out in the very first year. So if we start from that the director himself said that they have chosen by interacting themselves. The highest authority of the institute has chosen them by interacting with them, and they have also taken help of IIM Bangalore. So this is about the utilization of resources of other institute. So secondly, if we see accelerate your learning, it was the quiz, it was the in-house programs, it was the maybe some sending the students across. So it was the accelerating their learning process. So reduce effort, again, we can say that the mentorship of IIM Bangalore, and while placing them, they have also, or the inculcating the entrepreneurial mind in the students. They have taken help of NSCL, of IIM Bank.
Okay.
The best product.
Okay.
But could the product be the outcome of the product? Because the product would then have to be them being an IIM, which they reduce basically their efforts and their answerity by building themselves upon IIM's existing brands. So taking help of Bangalore and taking help of Andhra University. I guess that's the product that they're offering rather than what came out of it.
Okay.
And to add to that, reduced efforts, they have also focused initially to have a smaller batch size, and gradually as the years progressed, they increase the number of intake as well. So initially there is more of concentration on each and every student, I would like to say. Maybe that way they were able to get the results from the students, and slowly it started to organically snowball the effect. So that's what I feel.
Okay. Okay, anybody else? Shivani ma'am?
So the success, the efforts they had put into was actually visible from their students' faces and the expressions.
Okay. So, anybody else? Okay, so I'll quickly take you to the previous slide somewhere here. So one thing was the vision of the institute. That means they wanted to develop, right now the vision of the institute is to develop entrepreneurial leaders in business, government and society. However, when they started in 2015, they had no clue. Okay, so they didn't have a goal in mind that, hey, we want to develop entrepreneurs, that's why we are setting up an IIM. That was not the goal. Okay, so it was effectual in the way that they had IIM Bangalore access. Okay, so they had access to state government, central government, that is their means. They, because of state government, Andhra University is a very premier university in Andhra Pradesh, so like 95+-year-old organization right now. And they went and asked them, okay, can you give me some space? Because for me to bring the campus, it will take time. So that was their means which they had. The fourth thing which they had, they can get their customers from where? From the existing CAT exam, which the earlier IIMs, which the earlier older IIMs were using. They used the same means, the same entrance exam to recruit the students. Okay, and then what were the means? The coaching, the material taught in classes, the lectures, the subjects and their curriculum. The entire curriculum and structure was taken from IIM Bangalore. Okay, so that the new faculty, they don't have to spend time in reworking on the thing. The next thing which they did, the professors from IIM Bangalore themselves came and taught here. So it took some time for them to hire their own faculty members for 1 year or 2 years. They didn't have their own faculty members, right? Corporates. So the means here are the central and state government, the access to networks, the course curriculum, etc. The corporates which are having the CAT exam, all these are given means. And what did they try to do? They try to keep exploring. Okay, well, should my venture should my campus focus on entrepreneurial? No, that answer they didn't arrive very quickly. Initially, they went and said, okay, now our target customers are only students. Why should I not go to existing government departments like MITI, like etc., and ask their current employees in MITI to join an specialized 1-year program for them. So that's a new offering which they tried. Okay, and then they tried saying that we will partner with something called MGNF program, where the IIM Bangalore once again was the leader. So they explored many goals in between before they finalized what goal they wanted. Coming back to the cooking example, so entrepreneurship was not the one which was asked by students or not the one which was set up by the directors themselves. So they had multiple things: government employees, entrepreneurial leaders, MSMEs, etc. So they explored various things, and then now they fixed one thing. So did you understand how effectual thinking was used in IIM Visakhapatnam?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and all the principles more or less are covered. Now I'm going to show you the lean canvas which I prepared. which would have been prepared by the director of that first college in 2015. So make an observation and see whether all the parameters are covered or not, whether how what are your feedback on this lean canvas, just the way we did it in the last time, etc. So you have 2 minutes and start observing and make comments. This was in 2015 when they launched when government said set up an IIM, set up a venture. Yes, anybody would like to start? What is your feedback on this lean canvas? Is it making sense? When the
I
institute
do not understand the first problem statement. Like, what is it with the mid-level leadership roles and skills required for that? Sorry, I was stuck on that. So, which skills are required for mid-level leadership roles and that the IIMV is attacking?
That is a problem statement. So they have identified that some problem is there. Okay, how did they do it? What is that? That we can discuss something later.
Okay, fine.
So the unique value proposition, isn't it same as the other IIMs?
That is exactly what Professor Shamim told, right? When you ask them what is the unique value proposition of the other IIMs, right? So they are still figuring out what their unique value proposition is compared to their other competitors. So for now, it is the same. Only one thing is different, which is the ecosystem of Visakhapatnam. Okay, that was because maybe Visakhapatnam had more trains and flights and bus facilities from the locations of the students. Maybe Visakhapatnam had an international airport where faculty from Bangalore can come whenever they want. Maybe Raipur didn't have that kind of flight service, right? So initially the ecosystem of Visakhapatnam helped. Right now, the unique value proposition could be a campus. The campus which is getting built now, I'm going to show you one more video. So that will be a key differentiator when, how and why students are choosing this. And placement opportunities is something which is different again. Placement opportunities at IIM Visakhapatnam are different from placement opportunities at IIM Ahmedabad. Those companies who go to IIM Ahmedabad won't come to IIM Visakhapatnam. I mean, some companies. Okay, so there is still a difference of what value they are offering to their customers. Other than that, anything would you like to comment on? Because I made this so that you can work on your ventures lean canvas.
Sir, I have a query.
Is there any location-based advantage that IIM gets? Because I'm thinking an unfair advantage to something like a port city could be it being a port city in the sense that it has access to shipping industry and stuff like that.
It can have access, but they were not leveraging that access. See, Visakhapatnam can have 100 things. What will be useful for you when you are starting a venture is what is more important, right? For example, I could be having excellent knowledge in research work, but that is not helping in my venture, what I am trying to do.
Sir, I have a query.
Yes.
Sir, in the problem section, the second bullet point, which says lack of research on Indian companies for preparing industry relevant curriculum.
Okay.
So how does our solution here cater to this?
So look at the point number 2, hire professionals with PhD and provide them tools for research.
Hire professionals for with PhD, is it for the companies or for the
Faculty? As faculty, you are hiring professionals. Either they are WorkX or they have research experience as faculty, but they should have PhD, and you are providing them access to library resources, networks, etc., access to various other research platforms or networking events, etc., etc. You are offering them tools for research. That's how you are trying to solve.
In the problem section, we are looking at the need of Indian companies, no?
Yeah, that is. I said, you remember something that there is so much to write in that lean canvas, but unfortunately, space is limited, and we need to choose what we can write and what we cannot write. Definitely, what your point is well taken. Okay, but space constraints are there.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, how about some of the companies now they are directly into a link with universities and colleges and do mentorship programs. They give their own curriculum and request, select the students and get them mentored. So
no, that is not part of our service, ma'am. So is the lean canvas clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Bottle, తీసుకురారా bottle.
Okay, so I'm going to show you the current state of the campus, and then Okay, so we have roughly 18 minutes time, and we need to now look at the method which I'm going to. We're going to look at some method called walking skeleton method. Okay. So walking skeleton method is basically how do you define how much is enough for the first phase. Okay, which features do they want in the next phase? Which features do you want to offer to them in the third phase? Okay, and that depends on how the customer activities are captured in the form of a flow. Okay, so now we'll go to a live demo. Okay, so basically, first we need to figure out what job is to be done by our product or service. Okay, and then decide, okay, what is the first goal which it should do? What is the second goal which it should achieve? What is the third goal which it should achieve? Okay, and then again we divide these goals into 3 parts. Okay, or divide this goal into activities which are needed to fulfill this goal. Okay, in the same way, goal 3. So now the first 2 things are in the point of view of the customer. Okay, what does the customer need to do to get his job done? And the next, whatever activities are coming now, they are from the product or the company's point of view. Okay, we need to offer them, let's say 5 features to help them finish their first activity. Okay, then we need to do some other add new features to complete their activity to do some more. In the same case with goal 2 and goal 3. Okay, so now let's try to understand from the IIM Visakhapatnam example and see how to use this walking skeleton method. Okay, so what is the job to be done? Now we will take the help of the lean canvas. Okay, so what's the job to be done by the customer? Who is the customer? Customer is early adopter of the customer is engineering students and professionals, and basically students. So what is the student need to do? Students need to get, what is our USP? Need to get best in class management education with innovative teaching methodologies and state of the art facilities. Okay. Now let's say I want to give only this. Okay, so now to get this management education and teaching methodologies and state of the art facilities, what is the student expecting? Student is expecting case-based pedagogy and discussion. Okay, case study based methodology. Okay, and what is the next thing? So now there is some in-class activity. All these are in-class activities. In-class activities with students and faculty. Okay, to get world-class education, what else should be the second goal? Probably they want outside class activity. Rich interactions. What did I say? Student-led activities beyond academics. Okay. Outside classroom. Okay. And then they are doing something inside the class. They are doing something outside the class. And then what is that they needed? They need accommodation. Safe accommodation. Safe accommodation, so that they will be able to do these 3 things in Visakhapatnam. Are these 3 goals clear? And like that, we can keep on adding goal number 4, goal number 5, goal number 6, etc., etc. Is it clear or any doubts? Okay.
It's clear, sir.
Okay. So now for this case study based methodology, to deliver that, what do you need to have? You need to have, let's say,
faculty,
PhD faculty. Okay. And then you need to have first
resources,
have class students, peers, student peers. Interactions with, okay. Let me write like this.
State-of-the-art facility.
With students, peers, in courses. Okay. And then they have to interact with faculty in various courses. Okay. And then what else is needed to facilitate these two? And they needed high-tech classroom.
Yes, state-of-the-art facility.
State-of-the-art classroom. Okay, so now I'm going to show you, go back to this video. Okay, IIM Visakhapatnam. Oh no. Okay, so
these outings and festival ideas and remarkable library and on their own campus that we are very pleased that the Andhra University has given us a building on their own campus that we have refurbished and made into world-class classrooms and library and meeting rooms for our students, so that the students in Visakhapatnam have the same feel that they would get in a campus at any other IIM. The first batch.
Saw it? Did you see that? So they offered best state-of-the-art facilities. They offered classroom, then meeting rooms, then libraries, then IT infrastructure for Zoom calls, etc. Yes? Okay, what else is required? Okay, so and then for interactions with students, what is the feature which the IIM needs to do? They need to have a rigorous, strong selection criteria, right? Correct, right? If they don't have a good selection criteria, their peers will not be good and they will not perform well in the education. And then what?
They had the typical setup of the classroom, yes, that is a visible manner for more interactive sessions.
Yeah, so and then one is they need to have a strong selection criteria. This next is they need to have
interactive sessions plan.
oh, okay, case discussion based activities, facilitate discussions.
And some hackathons was also mentioned, I think so. Challenges and hackathons.
Facilitate discussions in class. It's not like one-way class. It's basically a two-way discussion. Okay. And then they need to have course projects. Okay. Which they need to do. And then to interact with students, you need to have like that. Okay. And then for interactions with students, you probably need a strong food court. Oh, no. You need a strong mess, right? For food, dining room. Okay, is it clear? Okay, so for interaction with faculty, for better interaction with faculty, what do they know? Faculty with PhDs. Okay, faculty teaching methodology. Cases. Okay. And then what value will faculty do? Okay, like that. There are, let's say, some more activities. Let's say what electives. More number of electives. Electives are basically what is a courses. More number of offer courses. Variety of courses. Okay. And then student-led activities outside classroom. Outside the classroom, they need to participate in, let's say, case competitions. Okay, which are basically challenges by corporates. They offer a challenge and these students will participate. And then they need to have clubs, student body clubs. Okay, first let's say they have 5 clubs and then they will expand to 10 clubs and they will expand to 15 clubs. Okay, and then let's say they will expand to 20 clubs. 20 clubs means one in HR, one in marketing, one for literature, one for book reading, one for movie watching, etc., etc. Okay, now case competitions is, you are saying outside classroom they will have to do case competition. That means we need to pass on information. Okay, information of events is an activity which we should do. Once the information is done, then what we need to do? We need to facilitate, provide opportunities, provide time and opportunity. Basically policies. Let's say a student has to go to from Vizag to Bangalore to pitch about this competition. Maybe their attendance will be lost, right? So we need to have appropriate policies so that when they go out, their their attendance is counted. Something like that. Understood, right? Now, safe accommodation. For safe accommodation, what do they need to do? They need logistics. Okay, so how are they coming to office? Bus transport,
Connectivity.
oh, okay, or cab transport to come to classes from hostel. And then they need hostel accommodation, hostels. They don't have hostels, right? So they partnered with guest houses. They took apartments for lease as hostels. Okay, and then they will say we will say own hostels in new campus. Understood, right? Now, how this walking skeleton works is that now that we have some activities, so these are goals, these are activities. These are for customers. These are features, and these are a part of product. Got it? Now, what we need to do now, let's come to these features. Which of these feature is most important? Now, probably this encapsulates the entire the 100% product quality is captured by this. Now, to select an MVP, now we need to decide which of these features should I give it in my MVP. Which feature should I lose?
Strong selection criteria.
Right? This we need to give. This we need to have in our MVP, because what is our MVP doing? Our MVP is, remember, we should test use case scenarios with minimal resources, which will help us in learning to know whether they are in the right path or not. Understood? Eliminate uncertainties, the weakest links, get to the end products customer. Okay. Now you will get away with strong selection criteria and for facilitation discussions. It's a part of your USP because you are mentioning it. See, now lean canvas, discussion and case-based pedagogy. It is a part of my USP, right? So probably I can ignore course projects right now, but when I'm doing my MVP, probably I need to know whether this interaction is going well or not. State of the facilities, I can avoid meeting room, library, infrastructure, dining room, etc. But focus on dining room will come here. Okay, I need classroom first to test whether the interaction case-based methodology is going well or not. Agree? Okay, and then as a quality aspect, we are only selecting faculties with PhDs. Okay, that we can ignore. Why? Oh, sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. I forgot one more step. So basically now we need to figure out the priority of these activities. Which one is more priority among these things? Okay, so strong selection criteria is the first criteria, is very much important. Next, facilitation, next core projects. Okay, and now by mistake I actually wrote the same in priorities also. Basically the priorities can change. Okay, so let's say meeting rooms are not priority for our target customers. Library is top more priority. Okay, meeting room is third priority. We have changed the priority. Next, we are saying that offline IT infrastructure, Zoom facility is last. Okay, interactions with faculty. Now, do we need to have faculties with PhDs with us? No. Why? Because we are partnering with IIM Bangalore. Understood, right? Because we are partnering with IIM Bangalore, we don't need to have faculty with PhDs. And we may need to offering a variety of courses is second thing, because this can be taken care by IIM Bangalore. Okay, now case competitions. Is it really required to offer opportunity and time, the regulatory policies? Do we need to really get into the nitty-gritty of what policy should be made so that when a student goes out, he will get attendance and all? So all of this, we can say that we don't need this in the MVP. Okay, are clubs required outside classroom? Because if we don't include any of this, some component should be there so that student-led activities outside goal is reached. Okay, so now I'm saying 5 clubs is, I'm going to choose 5 clubs. I'm going to choose teaching methodology first, and I'm going to choose classroom, and I'm going to choose these 2. Okay, and then which among these 4 is the topmost priority? Even if there is no cab and bus transport initially to go with, I need to lease apartments so that they know where to stand, where to sleep. Correct, right? So this is very important. So is it clear? After resorting all the priorities, we have now come up with what features should be included in the MVP. Is it clear, or is anybody having any doubt? Now, how did I choose these features? Because I have to check whether my unique value proposition is getting incorporated in the product or not, whether the quality, whether the USP, I mean the unfair advantage which I have, the support from IIM Bangalore is being leveraged or not. Okay, I have included some component in that. What is the weakest link? Weakest link is if they don't get placed. Right? So that placement I can still, that placement probably will come under goal 4. Okay. Okay, so now what we need to do, we need to Okay, so now what we are essentially saying is that we are going to break this MVP into like this. Okay, this part, what we are trying to do is going to be offered in phase 1. Understood? Okay, and then in phase 2, I'm probably going to include course projects, and then I'm probably going to include library and meeting room, and then still I don't want to recruit. Okay, I want to offer courses, and I don't want to provide any policies. Okay, clubs, I don't mind 5 clubs. And the second phase, I will provide bus and cab facilities. Okay, these are the things which I will provide in phase 2. Okay, information of events I am providing in phase 2. Okay, got it. Now I'm going to do something else. Now all the remaining things I'm going to do it in phase 3. That means the moment they come to the new campus, they will have 20 clubs. They will have their own They will have 20 clubs. They will be provided policies, respective policies. We will have full-time faculties. They will have IT infrastructure. Now, how did we arrive at the MVP? Is that clear with this example or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Sir, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so the thing is now, in the lean canvas, we have to mention about all the phases, right? And then put it in the MVP.
No. Lean canvas is very, very high-level picture of what your venture is trying to do. From that lean canvas, we'll figure out how much of this lean canvas can we do it in our MVP.
Okay. So that say now, lean canvas may have 3 ways to reach your final goal.
Okay.
So each can be further broken down into multiple MVPs then.
No. One MVP only, because see, you made one lean canvas, right? In March. Now what do we need to do? We need to build a product and take it to market. Now I don't know how much quality is required to be put into my product. That is the dilemma I'm facing. Correct? Basis this dilemma, I am trying to figure out a way to choose the features in my product in such a way that they will identify the weakest link and give me more learnings about my business canvas. Am I clear?
Okay. Yeah. If there's any query particularly to my venture, I can just mail it.
No, ma'am. We'll take all that in the next phase.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Sayanika.
Yes, sir. So I have a point. Since you said that this case competitions may not be taken in the first phase, from my point of view, sir, so IIM Vizag being the newest or new in the IIM category. So if the students participate in the case competition, it is they are representing IIM Vizag. So it would be a win-win condition for Vizag. IIM Vizag being representing in the national and the international standard. Secondly, yes, sir.
That is correct, ma'am. So what I'm trying to say is, initially I have limited resources and I need to set my priorities on what I should offer as bare minimum.
Yes, sir.
Yes, they can go out, they will bring laurels, all that can wait. If they don't win competitions also, the placements can happen. Right? So yes, there may be an additional extra advantage, but if they don't get a good pool in the first place, if they don't have apartments to live, if there are no case-based studies, that means I'm not even offering them what my USP
the basic requirements. Yes.
Right? So I am prioritizing this as phase 1. Maybe phase 1 is for 1 year. Maybe phase 2 is just 2 months after 1 year. where I will
Yes,
open up
got
information of events, etc.
Okay, sir. Understood.
So this is understanding how we can build an MVP. Okay, and test. If I know, my product after 1 year is having some criteria, having some classroom, having some teeth methodology, if I am able to measure the student satisfaction or placement satisfaction or faculty satisfaction, etc., if they're giving me results, then I can say, okay, I got 50 students here. Now I can scale up and bring 100 people, and I will have more fees as income. Now I can afford to own faculty instead of faculty from IIM Bangalore.
Yes.
And then they can start doing research. Now you see, I didn't put any research angle over here, because that will come in other goal, other MVP, etc. Got it, right? So now that we have a proper team canvas of our venture, we next need to decide how much of the product should be built and taken to market. That is minimum viable product. Okay. So I'll once again explain you the walking method, skeleton methodology using graphs. First, we need to understand the flow of customer activities. What are they doing? What job are they expecting? That means the problem solution which we are trying to build. And then how many features do they want in each activity? And then decide when do you want to offer that particular feature, in phase 1 or phase 2 or phase 3. Okay, we'll go through this very quickly. We'll divide it into goal 1, goal 2, goal 3, and then we'll subdivide it into these are the activities which needs to be done from the customer's point of view. This is from the customer's point of view. Now, from product point of view, what features do I need to add so that this activity 1 of the customer is complete? Okay, the same way, there could be multiple features for each activity. First part is mapping the benefits to customer jobs. These are the benefits which I am doing. These are the customer's jobs. Okay, live demo we have completed. Now, how do we prioritize benefits? Let's say among 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, order number is 4, 3, 5, 1, 2. Is the sequence of the features which the customer is expecting or which I can build. Okay, it is your choice. Again, the sequence got changed. Okay, the sequence got changed in most of the activities. Now I have prioritized what features I want to give. Now we need to decide the path. Okay, let's say now, if we draw a line like this, and then we say, these are the features which I want to offer in the first phase. After 1 year, I want to launch my MVP with these. And how will these MVP help me learn quickly with less resources, in less time, with less effort, is the dilemma which we are trying to solve. How much of the product quality should be there in the MVP? And I'm saying in the next phase, I'm going to add these two also. And in the third phase, I'm going to include the balance part. There could be multiple goals, goal 4, goal 5, goal 5, goal 6, etc. There could be multiple activities in each goal. There could be multiple features in each goal that needs to be worked out by each of you in your own venture. Okay, so this is all we have for today. And in the next class, we're going to discuss about how to reach out to the customers. Now you have built a MVP. How do you reach out to the customer is what we will discuss in the next class. So did you find it useful? Is the last question which I want to ask all of you.
Yes, sir. Very much.
Very much.
Yes.
Really learned a lot.
Very useful, sir.
Yes,
We
sir. It's
really
very
learned a lot.
useful for me. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. So let's meet again on Friday, and let's see how to do further.
Sir, will you be sharing the Excel that we have worked on today?
I'm thinking about it whether to share it or not. So yes,
So it will be useful if you share.
okay, sure. Then we'll try to do.
Thank you,
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
I just want to add, Harsha, that I was struggling with how to prioritize building features in an app that I want to offer for my clients. And today's technique, I think, really helped put things in perspective, how to go about doing that. So thank you so much for that.
Okay. Okay, thank you, ma'am. Okay, okay. Bye. See you on.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
sir.
Thanks
Bye.
again.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, bye.
Bye, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir. Bye.